Very good morning to all my dear students. Welcome to St. Angel's Public School Bagpat online economics classes. As you know that we are working from our home. So my dear students, today we are going to discuss again chapter number 1 Indian economy on the eve of independence. You know that we have discussed in different aspects of Indian economy. You can say what was the condition of Indian economy on the eve of independence, but today we are going to discuss some extra questions of this chapter. See, first question here, some name some economists who estimated India's per capita income during the colonial period. Colonial period means British period. Colonial period means British period, you can say British rule. So means some economists means Dada Bhai Naroji, William Digby, V.K. R.V. Rao and R.C. Desai. So these are the economists who estimated India's per capita income during the colonial period, or you can say like this, during the British period. So first question is clear. See next question. Name some modern industries. Which type of industry? Modern industries which were in cooperation, in our country at the time of independence. Now we are talking about, means this question is talking about at the time of independence. See, cotton textiles, jute textiles, sugar industry, iron and Indian steel industry, cement industry and paper industry. So these are the industries means which were in cooperation in our country, which were cooperation in our country at the time of independence, See now third question. What was the twofold motive behind this systematic deindustrialization affected by the British in pre-independence? Pre-independence means before independence. Pre-independence means before independence. See, now what was the twofold motive? See, first motive, to exploit Indian raw material. To exploit Indian raw material like cotton and jute to meet increasing requirement of industries in England, or you can say in Britain. It means that what was the twofold motive behind the systematic deindustrialization affected by the British in pre-independence? Before independence means to exploit. See, what was the twofold motive of deindustrialization? Deindustrialization before independence. So first motive was to exploit Indian raw material in form of cotton, jute to meet increasing requirement of industries in England, because you know that India was net exporter of raw material. India was net exporter of raw material to Britain, and India was net importer of finished goods from Britain. So I hope all of you have understood this first motive. See next motive, to exploit India as a market for finished product. To exploit India as a market for finished product of those industries. Those industries means industries in England. Those industries means industries in England. I hope all of you have understood. See, now you know that India was net exporter of raw material to Britain and net importer of finished goods from Britain. So first point is showing here, India was net exporter of raw material, and second motive showing here means India was net importer of finished goods from Britain, or you can say from those industries which were in England. So I hope all of you have understood means these three extra questions. So please pause the video and note down this. See next, explain different types of economy with their characteristic. Means first we will discuss backward economy. In backward economy, farming as a source of subsistence. Subsistence means only for livelihood. Subsistence means only for livelihood, not for profit motive. Not for profit motive. You can say livelihood means for own consumption, not for sale purpose. Not for sale purpose. See, it is performed more by the subsistence. It is performed more by the subsistence motive rather than the profit motive. So I hope this means meaning of backward economy is clear. Is always remember, in backward economy, farming, suppose if I am saying farming is a source of farming. See, farm, you can say like in any economy, or you can say in any country, or you can say in any economy, farming as a source of subsistence. Farming as a source of subsistence, it means that economy will be considered as a backward economy. That economy will be considered as a backward economy. So I hope all of you have understood. See, it is performed more by the subsistence. It is performed more by the subsistence motive, means livelihood motive. Subsistence means livelihood. Subsistence means for own consumption, for self consumption means for self consumption motive rather than the profit motive. So I hope it is clear. See next, in backward economy, quality of life is extremely low. Quality of life is extremely low. It means that, always remember, the living standard of people will be all, you can say living standard of people is extremely low in backward economy. See, in backward economy, absolute poverty is widespread means in everywhere, or you can say everywhere. So in backward economy, absolute poverty will be everywhere. So I hope all of you have understood what do you mean by backward economy. See next, developing economy. See, developing economy is more like backward economy, in terms of quality of life, and predominance of absolute poverty, because you know that in backward economy, quality of life is extremely low and absolute poverty is widespread. So we can say like this, developing economy is more like backward economy in terms of quality of life and predominance of absolute poverty, but at the same time, where change is evident, in terms of rising level of per capita. Means at the same time means when quality of life is extremely low, when absolute poverty is widespread, and at that time, or you can say at the same time, where change is evident in terms of rising level of per capita and transformation from agriculture sector to industrial sector as a source of livelihood. So always remember, in developing economy, first of all, how will you explain developing economy? Developing economy is more like backward economy in terms of the quality of life and predominance of absolute poverty, but at the same time, per capita income is rising. Means at the same time, when quality of life is extremely low, when predominance of absolute poverty, at that time, per capita income is rising. And when people are transforming, we can say when people are when people will transfer from agriculture sector to industrial sector, when people will transfer from agriculture sector to industrial sector, that economy will be considered developing economy. Developing economy means when per capita, in developing economy, per capita income is rising and people will transfer from agriculture sector. You can say people are transferring from agriculture sector to industrial sector. So I hope all of you have understood means developing economy. See, stagnant economy. Stagnant economy means a stagnant economy is an economy which is characterized by a long period of slow economic growth. See, if like if I'm saying in any economy, long period of slow economic growth takes place. It means long period of slow economic growth takes place. That economy will be considered as a stagnant economy. That economy will be considered as a stagnant economy. So I hope all of you have understood, means explain different types of economy with their characteristics. See, first, backward economy. Backward economy means in backward economy, farming as a source of livelihood, farming as a source of subsistence, farming as a source of, or you can say, livelihood or subsistence. Now in backward economy, quality of life is extremely low and absolute poverty is widespread. But in developing economy, per capita income will rise, and people will transfer from agriculture sector to industrial sector. And in stagnant economy means in stagnant economy, long period of slow economic growth will take place. So I hope all of you have understood these different types of economy with their characteristics. So please pause the video and note down this. Next economy is vibrant economy. A vibrant economy is characterized by dynamic changes in terms of the emergency role of technology. Emergency role of technology in the process of production. In the process of production. In vibrant economy, production is more market oriented. Production is more market oriented means production is for sale purpose. Production is more for market oriented means for sale purpose. For sale purpose. For sale purpose. Now, and become an important parameter of production decision. Production decision means like for, or you can say production decision means for self consumption as well as for sale purpose. So for self consumption as well as for sale purpose. See, again I am repeating, a vibrant economy is characterized by dynamic changes in terms of the emergency role of technology in the process of production. It means that in vibrant economy, technology plays an important role. Technology plays an important role in the production process. In the production process, first point is clear. See, in vibrant economy, production is more market oriented. Market oriented means for sale purpose, or you can say for profit motive. For profit motive, and become an important parameter of production decision, not for consumption purpose. You can say not for consumption purpose, but production became parameter of production purpose. See, now next question. What do you understand by the drain of wealth? Drain of wealth during the colonial period. During the colonial period means British period, and wealth means like your assets, See, drain of wealth or assets during the colonial period. See, huge administration expenses were increased, known as home charges by the British government. Means huge administration expenses were increased by the British government to manage their colonial rule in India. It means that huge administrative expenses were increased by the British government to manage their colonial rule in India. But also huge expenses were incurred to fight wars in implementation of their policy of imperialism. What do you mean by imperialism? Please try to understand. A political system. Imperialism means a political system in which imperialism means a political system in which a rich and powerful country controls other countries which are not rich and powerful, or you can say which are not as rich and powerful as itself. Again I am repeating, what do you mean by imperialism? Imperialism means a political system in which a rich country, or we can say a rich and powerful country, controls other countries which are not as rich and powerful as itself. India was beared, or you can say faced all these expenses. All these expenses means huge administrative expenses to manage their colonial rule in India, plus huge expenses were incurred to fight wars, means huge expenses to fight wars in implementation of their policy of imperialism in world. India was beared or faced all these expenses. That's why drain of India's wealth took place. So I hope all of you have understood. Means India's wealth means like resources, resources like you can say labor, for next like agriculture next means like agriculture like money. So I hope all of you have understood. India's wealth means took place. That's why drain of India's wealth took place. So I hope all of you have understood. Means different types of economy with their characteristics and this question. So these are the extra questions of this chapter, and this chapter completed. Please pause the video and note down this. After this we will discuss next chapter.